You have back pain, haven't done many exercises yet, you are a beginner so-called. You don't need to worry at all. We make it very, very easy so that everyone can understand what can be done against back pain. Please stand up for the first exercise, shoulder width apart, stay in that position, and now just take a moment to become aware of your body. What do we want to perceive? We want to perceive how your pelvis is positioned. It may be very, very difficult for you to control at first, but like many other movements, it is purely a matter of practice. Try to pull in your stomach a little bit and try to bring your groins forward a little. But not by moving forward, but by rotating the pelvis a little. As I said, it's just an attempt, and after the 10th attempt, then you will understand how you can implement it in terms of movement. Pull your belly button back a little, stand securely if necessary, hold on to something. If you are very unstable, then hold on to something, maybe a chair here, a chair there, maybe a table in front that you can hold on to. You can also go against the wall, you can place your hands on the wall, but I'll demonstrate it standing freely now, maintaining balance as it should be practiced. Just make sure you don't fall. And now push your groin area further and further forward, and you can place your hands on the lower buttocks and can help a little there. And then you gently push forward and feel where it pulls. It can pull in the front here, it can pull in the hip joint, it can, and even should, pull a bit in the back, because then, now you're working on the cause as we consider it for your back pain. You're addressing it, gradually removing a bit of the cause more and more. That's how we understand it. Keep pushing forward and take your time to get a feeling of the movement, even if you don't feel much stretching at first. Always come a little further forward with the area of the groin, pull in the belly button. And there we are already addressing the most crucial factor, which, according to our experience, is extremely important in the case of back pain. Then you slowly come out. Wasn't that difficult, right? Shake a little, move a little. Stay in the same position, and now what we did backwards, we do it forward. Just stand, have your knees straightened, and go forward. How far can you come forward? Until here, maybe only until here, maybe a little deeper, doesn't matter. Just go forward very carefully, support yourself with your hands on your thighs or legs, depending on how deep you can bend. And then feel it, probably starting to pull at the back of the leg, in the area of the knee pit. Maybe it also pulls in the buttocks, or it already pulls a little into the back. Now you slowly go down as far as you can still tolerate well, or as long as you still feel comfortable. And if it already pulls a little and you already feel uncomfortable, then stay there for now. That's good. Simply gain trust in this exercise. And if it already pulls too strongly in the back of the knees and not at all in the back and buttocks, then you can bend your knees a little, just a little. And then you notice, oh yes, now you're going a little deeper with your back. And now it may pull at the lower back and stretch nicely there. And that's what we want. We want to gently encourage whatever is short and tense to become more and more mobile. And then you slowly go out. And was that bad? No, right? Once again, briefly from the beginning, the movement, the first one, and once again go forward, stand again. And now we're going to do something similar to the side, okay? Just stay in the same position and simply move your torso to the left, or rather your shoulder girdle to the left, and stretch your pelvis to the right. And then it can start to pull here if you can do it now. Doesn't have to be. But try bending your arm a little and taking it a bit over your head and pulling your arm a bit further to the left. And then you usually feel a nice stretch here, and it feels good. We would like to have that. And then you breathe in nicely, completely normal, without much effort, supporting yourself here with your left hand on your thigh and letting yourself go a little further down. As far as possible. And when you are up here and it doesn't go any further, don't be surprised. It can happen if you haven't stretched for many years, right? But the law of biology says if you stretch, then it will get longer. Whether it's a millimeter or a centimeter doesn't matter, but with training, something is happening in the body. This is so completely firmly built in, programmed into our body. Continue walking to the left. And you also notice that as you go down further, your left hand slides down the left thigh. Going deeper, you'll feel it. And thereby it is a good indicator for you that the stretching is increasing, improving. And then you come out very, very slowly and carefully. That's not bad either, right? We'll do the same thing now on the other side. Consciously stand, take the shoulder girdle to the right and push the pelvis to the left. Also make sure that you don't twist while doing it, that you stay nicely in the axis, okay? Go nicely to the left with the pelvis and feel free to also take the arm here and pull it over the head to the right. And then you notice the stretching gets even more intense here. That's usually how it feels. Support your right hand nicely here on the thigh again and gradually move a little further to the right. And your hand goes down more and more. If you need to leave a position in between, then go out briefly and go back in. But it's best if you stay at an intensity that is not so strong that you have to go out. So if you have to go out, maybe it's because you don't have the strength to hold it, because your body is not used to it anymore, then go out briefly and go back in. But try to hold on and feel where it pulls. That should pull here on the left side of the pelvis, then a bit into the waist. It may also pull in the hip joint. We spend a bit more time in any area that feels tight, and it usually feels good. That's why we do it. And then slowly out again here. And again straight into the opposite movement, which we did earlier. Test again and move a little, move the pelvis a little. Maybe you notice that your back already feels a little lighter. It could well be. Don't be surprised if very few exercises already have a noticeable effect. This naturally varies from case to case. And now you take your arms, maybe like this, onto your chest and turn around. The feet stay still, the feet do not move. You keep turning further to the left. You can take the head with you. The head wants to go left, the shoulder girdle wants to go left, and you keep the knees straight. And then try to feel where the stretching is taking place. It could be in the area of the lower back, maybe in the hip joints, feel it. And when you notice you can still turn a little further, then you turn a little more. And the important thing is time. You'll notice that we spend approximately 2 minutes per position, and this has a very, very important reason, because then your body can adapt more and more. If you stretch too briefly, your body can't adapt as effectively, and then it's not nearly as intense. Always turn a bit further, and you'll notice how far you can turn by observing how far you can look. You will notice if you do this routine once a day, then you can probably keep looking further in your room where you practice. Suddenly you will see more and more. This is a good indicator if you know that you are making progress. Now we do the same on the other side. Stand normally again, move a little, and now turn to the right. Keep going, take your head with you, feel inside. Feeling inside is super important and will help you to progress faster. It is called body perception or body awareness. And the more you develop a sense of your body, the more you feel what is good for it, what are the limits that you should not exceed. All of this is also a training effect, a learning effect. Keep turning and feeling, and look, how far can you see? What can you see in your room behind you and beyond? You keep going further in. If you notice in between, oh, I can't do it anymore at all, then go out briefly. The ones who can still tolerate it, stay there. I just wanted to show it briefly. Then you go out. Feel in for a moment and ask yourself, where am I? What am I doing? And then turn to the right again. Feel into it. Where do you sense a stretch? Where does it pull? Where is there a slight discomfort? Make sure that it has to be light, not so that you can hardly bear it. That must not be, it still has to be positive if you already go that far into the stretch and then slowly come out again. So now it's getting a bit more challenging. I'll show you what we're doing now. I'm standing on the mat, but you can also do it on the carpet. You can also do it on the bed with a firm mattress. That would work, yes. And I now have this tool here, this loop, but you can also use a towel, you can use a belt, or you can ask your partner or someone who can help you to get into the exercise. So what we actually want to do, let me demonstrate first, is to lie on our stomach and then, with the extension, gradually bring our foot towards the buttocks. If you don't have a belt now and don't have a loop either, and also no towel and can't manage it at all, yes, then you simply do it by lying down like this and pressing your groin against the floor and try to pull your leg further and further back towards your buttocks with your own strength. And you do that by first lying down, and when you reach the point where you realize that you simply can't go any further, then you see if you can push yourself up a bit here, and then you will probably feel more stretching. Of course, it is better and more effective if you can pull yourself closer using the loop or a belt or whatever, because then you have more stretching effect, okay? You can also, I have to explain that again in more detail, if now your partner helps you, then he or she should gently push your foot further towards your buttocks, and then you will feel a very strong stretching, usually on the front side of the thigh, up to the groin. And this is super important because this exercise is closely related to effectively dealing with back pain. When this muscle is more relaxed, the body doesn't feel as much pain. That's our experience with it. Keep going further, and then we do the same on the other side. I'll demonstrate it again without the loop, so whatever you use to pull yourself, you can also try to reach your foot, but you usually won't be able to do that. One can achieve that only when one is well stretched. Usually you reach for something around here, maybe you can grab your pants, yes, and you can pull yourself using the pants. If you have a towel, then wrap it around and somehow pull yourself towards it with both hands. Or let yourself be gently pushed further and further towards the buttocks by another person. We'll do that for a moment. Always further. By the way, if something cramps, yes, if your posterior thigh cramps, then you quickly straighten the leg, push it a little, and start again. The cramping is nothing serious. It only happens with muscles when they are overloaded, then they protest. Then you have to pull out the protest again, and then it's usually good. So keep pulling yourself closer. And if you do it just like I am now, so to speak, it's called active stretching, where you actively engage the muscles to induce the stretch. That is also a great exercise, but of course you have more effect if you can apply another force to assist you. And then we slowly go out. And now please sit down like this, and see if you can position your legs at about 90 degrees at the knee joint. And when you sit like this, it may be that you can only get this far, or that you can't even reach your legs yet, that it only goes this far, then just try. So assuming you are here now and you already notice, oh, it's tight everywhere, then try to push yourself up a little. It's also a good arm workout at the same time. If that doesn't work, then we'll immediately show you something else here. Then sit down on the chair and let yourself fall forward. I'm demonstrating it like this, but you can also go parallel to the chair, as you've just seen in the short video clip. Follow it. And if you're already doing that on the ground and maybe come this far, you can also take a towel, take a loop, some kind of pulling thing to pull yourself forward, or you grab your legs directly, then you pull, keep going. The goal is for you to eventually reach your feet, and if you practice that, the probability of you eventually achieving that is very high, right? Let's stay in this position for a little while longer. Everyone practices in the position or also on the chair, as we have shown, and then you feel the stretch in the lower back, and there you stretch yourself more and more carefully. And it may well pull clearly. It usually does, because there is always tension in the back. Yes, there is always tension, so very tense muscles. Because from the front, the forces are so great due to sitting, due to the shortening, that a lot of force has to be applied to the back, and that's why the muscle eventually cramps and becomes rock hard. And the tough one can be weaned off by gently pulling on it more and then restoring the path, so to speak. And then we go onto the back with knees bent, and now you try first to get your chin as far down to the larynx as possible. If you are already so hyperextended while lying down, then it won't work. Then put 2 or 3 books underneath and then try, I'm pretending now as if the books were here, yes, and you would have this height now, and then try to do it at this height. And then you try to pull the belly button towards the floor, thus engaging the entire back. and then you try to stretch your legs as far as possible and put your legs down. So you pull the chin down, you pull the belly button down, and you pull the back of the knees down. And you can think of it as a strength training without hesitation. This makes the muscles stronger. Those that are too weak and those that are too short, they are stretched longer. And you can stay lying down again. I will say a few closing words. Do this exercise once a day, and you will see that it always feels different and that you also become more relaxed. This is most likely due to training that it behaves like this. If anything comes up and you have concerns, then ask your doctor. Let him confirm that these are good ways to become fitter and gain more control over back pain. Especially with back pain, it is the case that most back pain is non-specific. That means you don't have any damage inside that is being detected, because what causes the pain, in our experience, is the excessive tension of the muscles and fascia, which cannot be seen on these X-rays or MRIs. You'll always get a better feeling. Do it once a day, 6 days a week, and rejoice in what happens. And if that has already worked quite well today, or even after 3 months, if you have repeated it over and over again, then click here. There you will find the advanced routine with other exercises, and you can always make yourself fitter.